Good morning. Today we are making the packet for packet number 8, which is due next week Tuesday on March 4th. Our first page says Ryan agrees to care for his neighbor's flock while they go on a 2-week vacation. His neighbors give him 2 options for payment. With plan A, Ryan would get $2 on day 1, $4 on day 2, $6 on day 3, $8 on day 4, and so on. With plan B, Ryan would get 2 cents on day 1, 4 cents on day 2, 8 cents on day 3, 16 cents on day 4, and so on. Which plan should he choose? Obviously the one that he makes more money with. So you have to tell me which plan that is and how much more money will he make with this plan. So these are common mistakes that people have been making as they've been trying out this page. So for plan A, he makes $2 on day 1, $4 on day 2, day 3 he makes 6, day 4 he makes 8, and people are following that out and they get to day 14 and they say that's how much money he's made altogether. But it's not. That's how much money he made on day 14. We need to add all the days up to get the total amount he makes with plan A. So you don't just take day 14, you add all the day amounts together. For plan B, on day 1, he makes 2 cents. I am not just gonna write a 2 there, because that's what I wrote for $2. 2 cents is 0.02. Then we double it for day 2, 0.04. Those decimals matter. I've had multiple people not putting those decimals in place and you're getting the wrong answer. So make sure that you are putting the correct decimals in and that you are adding correctly. And just like with plan A, you need to add every day's amount to get the total for that plan. Once you have the total for plan A and plan B, you are going to find that difference. Which plan do you make the most money with, and how much more money are you making? So make sure you're adding every day together. Go all the way to day 14 because it's 2 weeks. He doesn't take the weekends off. The sloth still needs to eat on the weekends. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 14. Figure out how much he's making each day, then how much he made total with each plan. On our second page, we have 4 different triangles we need to fill in. Using the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There are 6 circles. You use each number 1 time. You put them in different arrangements. So let's say, this isn't going to be an answer, but let's say we want each of these sides to equal 6. So I would put maybe a 1, a 2, and a 3 here, but then I need this side to equal 6, so I need to use different numbers to make it equal 6. Obviously that can't work because 6 can't equal itself, we have to add those. So you need to find what total, so these aren't right, but find this section is going to have 1 total that each line is going to make. This triangle is going to have a different total that each side is going to make. This will be a different total, and this one will be a different total. So each of those triangles, the sides equal a different total amount. On the next page is our 4-card challenge, 5-card challenge. We know how to do those. Next one is the pattern page. Let's fill in what we know. How many yellow blocks are in figure 1? Say it out loud for me. 1. How many blue?
0.
How many total? How many yellow in the second figure?
5.
How many blue?
4.
How many total?
3.
Third figure, how many yellow?
3.
How many blue?
15.
How many total?
25.
fourth figure, how many yellow? How many blue? How many total? So, I look at my yellow row, 1, 5, 9, 13. I see what pattern I'm increasing by each time. I'm just adding the same number every time. So you can fill out that yellow row. For the blue, I see my favorite kind of numbers. What are my favorite kind of numbers, Luke? Perfect squares. If I look at that 4, 16, 36, those are all perfect squares. 0 squared is 0. 0 times 0 is going to be 0. What do I square to get 4? 2 squared to get 4. What do I square to get 16? 4 squared. What do I square to get 36? I don't know why it's not working for me. Okay. So, look at that pattern. Continue the pattern. 0 squared, 2 squared, 4 squared, 6 squared. You can figure out what comes next. Look at the total blocks. What kind of pattern do I see there? 1, 9, 25, 49. What kind of numbers are those? Those are also perfect squares. Not the same perfect squares that we had for the blue. I have 1 squared, 3 squared, 5 squared, 7 squared. But continue that pattern of perfect squares. So find the perfect square patterns for each of those and just continue them. Next page. It is a goofy shape that we need to find an area of, and we need to find the full figure area, and then we need to find the shaded area. So if it is a goofy shape, we can't just say length times width because it's goofy. So we can cut it into 2 rectangles, because we know how much this side is, we know how much this side is. To find that big rectangle, we can subtract to find this one. We can subtract to find this one, because we know the full and the part to subtract out. So find the area of the 2 smaller rectangles, add them together for that full area. How am I going to find the shaded area then? David?
I'd say, well, tonight find the area for the blank area, and then you take the full one, you subtract it from the book.
I have to find that white area, and I take the full minus the white, and I'm left with the shaded. All right, next page. Next page, I love that we are used to these kind of pages and people are drawing out nets. You don't have to draw a net for this one. It doesn't have it in the directions. But some of us are drawing the net so we can find that surface area. So, what we need to know is the surface area is 6 times, they called it A. A would be a side length. 6 times A squared. Because surface areas, the area of a square is side times side. And we know that side is the same size because it's a square. Then we're given a volume. The volume is length times width times height, which is the same as saying that A cubed. Because it's side times side times side, they're all the same size. So we need to figure out what number we multiply by itself 3 times to get 729. Some of us are taking 729 and dividing it by 3. That's not how it works. Okay. If our surface, or if our volume is 8, that would be 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so you need to think that through. What number do I multiply by itself 3 times and I get 729? Then I'm going to take that same number and I'm going to plug it into my surface area, and I'm going to get that answer. So you want to make sure side times side times side equals 729. So that gives me my side length. So I can square it and multiply it by the 6 sides to find my surface area. And if you still have questions on that when we're done, you can definitely ask me more questions. Our next page, we are going to be seeing a lot of these pages in future packets. So we need to know the correct formulas to find the volume of these different shapes. Pre-algebra needs to do 3. You can always challenge yourself to find more of them. I have them all written down. So if you want to challenge yourself with the more complicated ones, if you want to do all of them, you certainly can. Mr. Schultz has given us different side lengths to help us out. We need to write in the volume formula for each of these. For the rectangular prism, it is length times width times height. So we know 144 equals length times width times height. We know the length is 8, the height is 2. We want to find that height. How do I get the height by itself? What math do I have to do? Opposite operations. So if I'm multiplying on this side and I want to move the 8 and the 2 over to the other side, I need to divide each side by 8, divide each side by 2, and then I'm left with just the height equals. So 144 divided by 8 divided by 2. Whatever that equals is our height. So we use that opposite operations on this page. For our cube, it's length times width times height, but they all have to be the same because it is a cube. So same number, length times width times height. For a triangular prism, it's 1/2 of the length times the width times the height. For our pyramid, we have length times width times height divided by 3. For the cylinder, it's pi r squared times height. For the cone, it's pi times r squared times the height divided by 3. And for our sphere, it is 4/3 times the pi times r cubed. You only have to do 3 of these, but you can definitely do more. Our next page, if you didn't get a chance to write all of these down, you can come back and watch the video later to write down those formulas. The next page is just the start of the Fibonacci numbers. We're going to work more with these. So this is just the easy one where we just have to write out the numbers. So you take 2 numbers and you add them together. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. And fill in the rest of those numbers. Mean, median, and mode. Big thing to remember for this page. If they say that there are 3 oranges for $1.20, how many times am I going to write down $1.20? Christina? 3 times. There are 12 items. You should have 12 numbers in your list. Put it from least to greatest so you can find that median. Remember to find the mean. You add all of those numbers, all 12 numbers, you add up and divide by 12. For the median, if you have 2 numbers in the middle, you find the mean of those 2 numbers. You add them together and divide by 2. The mode is the number that we see the most of. And our last page is that polyomino one that we know how to do. No twisting, sliding, turning. Okay, just slide it straight over. If you continue to have questions on any of these pages, please come see me. If you turn them in by Friday, you will get a chance to redo pages before it is due next week, Tuesday. Have a wonderful day.